Kamala start the show. Well, CNN reports the unthinkable. Kamala Harris not only doesn't care about the border as the borders are, she now wants to use your tax dollars to pay for it. And I don't mean it as in coming to this country, but the transition surgeries for illegal immigrants. Listen to this. Harris told the ACLU in 2019 she supports cuts to ICE funding, and she also wants to provide gender transition surgeries to detained migrants. It's insane. In January 2019, then Senator Kamala Harris speaks to her supporters in this image. Here's what she had to say. As Kamala Harris pivots to the political center in her campaign, a 2019 questionnaire from a leading civil rights organization spotlights her past support for left-wing causes such as taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained immigrants and federal prisoners. An American Civil Liberties Union questionnaire, the then Senator Harris filled out a candidate for president in 2020. She also expressed support for decriminalization of federal drug possession for personal use and for sweeping reductions to immigration and custom enforcement operations, including drastic cuts in ICE funding and an open-ended pledge to end immigration detention. It gets even worse, though. The questionnaire had received scant media attention, and a spokesperson from the ACLU claimed that it had remained live from 2019. The ACLU's website upload and page source indicate the questionnaire was reposted last month after Harris became the presumptive Democratic nominee. Now, CNN was unable to find the questionnaire filled out by other candidates from 2020 campaign that the ACLU had reposted. Harris has acknowledged that some of her stances have evolved over time, but that she holds core beliefs that remain unshakable. My values have not changed, she said in an interview with CNN last month. So her values haven't changed. Like, this is not something that, they can fact check and say, well, this happened a long time ago. And I have the information here to prove it. We have a video clip that shares expressly what she thinks about providing this kind of surgery for illegals. Watch.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General, right. Of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy.
So she wants to provide transgender surgeries for people regardless of what crimes they've committed, right? You commit a felony, you can't vote. You commit a felony, you can't own a gun, but you can get taxpayer-funded transgender surgery. Now, everyone knows transgenderism is just a mix of mental illness paired with indoctrination and a little bit of money to play dress up. But this stuff is absolutely insane. Now, what happened was many were denying that she supported this. J.D. Vance, though, expressed directly that she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens who are in prison is the wildest thing I've ever heard in any debate ever. That was Mark Lamont Hill. Well, J.D. Vance snapped back and said, what's even crazier is that Kamala Harris actually did support giving illegal aliens transgender surgeries paid for by taxpayers. And it's absolutely true. Now, as I mentioned here, the ACLU questionnaire, which was actually published during the 2020 presidential campaign, provides a clear record of Harris's progressive stances. Some candidates did not respond to the questionnaire, including Joe Biden. The ACLU had also volunteered volunteers of questions at public town halls and later posted videos on their website. During one town hall event in New Hampshire in 2019, Harris asked by a voter if she supports adding a third gender to a federal identification card. Sure, Harris answered, to a round of applause from the crowd. I have my entire life and career been an ally, and I see this issue of LGBTQ rights as a fundamental civil rights and rights issue, period. Goes on to say here, as you go down, in a response, Harris also attacked the Trump administration efforts to ban transgender troops in the military, calling it outrageous. These are people who have decided that they are willing to sacrifice and serve for the sake of our democracy and our freedom, and you're going to kick them out of the military, Harris said. The ACLU told CNN that it doesn't plan on sending Harris a new questionnaire this election. The Harris campaign did not answer questions from CNN on whether she continued to support these positions. So now she's dodging the responsibility of whether she supported these. And CNN is taking note. Now, I have the video here, but I want to remind you that Biden is not done. He hasn't dropped out of the race yet, and he's not even going to be finished for a few more months. Will he jam through some weird hidden tax trap at the last second, right before he goes? Well, Could erase your retirement funds, surcharge your income taxes, increase your utility or gas prices, maybe even inflate on things you need to live. Some or all of this could affect you or your family in one way or another. So if you want to wait and see, you may as well kiss your retirement and savings goodbye. The good news is that right now you can get prepared, but you better hurry. Reach out to Goldco today to learn how precious metals could help you protect yourself and your family. They're offering you a free 2024 gold and silver kit, plus up to 10% instant match and bonus silver on qualified accounts. All you have to do right now is go to vnngold.com. That's vnngold.com. Your retirement funds, income taxes, gas prices could all be affected. Go to vnngold.com. That's vnngold.com. Now, as I mentioned, even CNN is kind of saying, hey, this is not really good after all of these, liberal policies came to light. Let's hear what they have to say about this.
Tonight, Kamala Harris releasing details of her policy positions for the first time on her campaign website. A K-file investigation has uncovered, meantime, a 2019 questionnaire. And in this questionnaire, Harris laid out some much more liberal stances, among them on immigration. So in 2019, in what K-file found, she said she would cut funding to ICE, writing, quote, "Our immigrant detention system is out of control, and I believe we must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals, families, and children. I was one of the first senators after President Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE." Well, now, of course, she's touting the Biden administration's executive order to crack down on the border. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. Andrew, that's pretty incredible on its own when you're talking about what you found here on ICE. What else did you find?
Yeah, and this was a questionnaire that she filled out for the ACLU. And this questionnaire is really an interesting snapshot in time of that 2019 Democratic primary. Kamala Harris was trying to get to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was trying to get to the left of Elizabeth Warren. And you really see that in a lot of these answers. And I want to walk our viewers through a little bit of what she said. Let's just take immigration and look at what she said here. She said on immigration, she made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She also said she
taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She actually said she supported that.
She wrote and answered in the affirmative when she was asked this. Oh. And she said she also supported it for federal prisoners. Now, she also pledged to slash immigration detention by 50%, close all family and private facilities, and decrease funding for ICE, and then the end ICE detainers with local law enforcement.
I mean, these are things that, it would be hard to think that you would come up with taxpayer funding gender transitions for detained migrants. And yet this, as you say, written and verbally. What else, did you find?
Well, let's take a look at her answer here on drugs. She got asked about, the question from the ACLU was, since drug use is better addressed as a public health issue through treatment and other programming, will you support the decriminalization at the federal level of all drug possession for personal use? And Harris answers yes. Now, what would that mean? Well, it mean the federal all drug possession. That's not just marijuana, which she alluded to in her answer to this question, but it also would mean
it's federal level of all drug possession,
fentanyl, crack,
yes.
Cocaine, things like that. Yeah.
Have they responded to you on her changes on these issues?
So we did put this question to the Harris campaign about the entire ACLU questionnaire, and the Harris campaign didn't answer any questions from CNN. Instead, they just provided a statement from an unnamed Harris campaign advisor that just said, the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. Now, they declined to CNN to elaborate on what those positions were. And then they also provided this statement, which they attributed to a spokesperson saying, as president, she will take that same pragmatic approach, focusing on common sense solutions for the sake of progress. So where does she stand on this, all this questionnaire today? We don't know, and they won't say.
Yeah, we don't know, and they won't say. Now, if you think that she's going to be the most extreme president in the history of our country, well, you are going to not be shocked, because she will be. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe by leaving a comment and liking the video. And if you want to get our newsletter every single day to get videos like this, make sure you sign up at vigilantnews.com, or you can subscribe to our Rumble and X accounts at Vigilant News. My name is Elijah Schaefer. Thank you for watching Beyond the Headlines. Have a great rest of the week. May God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.